There's a truth so simple, most people never see it. Every moment you think you are building, and with every doubt, fear, or lazy thought, you are destroying. Your mind is not just a storage room for memories, it's a construction site. Brick by brick, thought by thought, you are creating the architecture of your destiny. Some people live in mansions of belief, others live in the ruins of their own negativity. The difference is invisible, yet absolute. It begins with what you allow yourself to think. Most people think their circumstances are shaping their thoughts, but the wise know it's the other way around. Circumstances are the shadows. Thought is the light. The shape of your life is cast by what burns in your mind. When Edison was failing hundreds of times, he wasn't destroyed by failure. He was building through it because his thoughts never accepted defeat. When Ford was told he could never create an affordable car, he didn't bend to public opinion. He built a mental empire first, and the world followed. They were not lucky. They were deliberate architects of their future. So the question is not whether you can achieve greatness. The question is, what are you building inside your mind right now? If your thoughts are soaked in fear, if your imagination is ruled by limitation, then you are building a future you will one day regret living in. Every complaint, every "I can't," every jealous glance, these are the termites eating away at the foundation of your success. But if you think with faith, if you hold the image of what you desire with conviction, then you are pouring concrete, the unbreakable kind. You are building a structure that will stand through storms. This is why Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." He wasn't offering poetry, he was describing physics, the invisible law that governs thought and outcome. You cannot think poverty and live wealth. You cannot think failure and live triumph. You cannot think doubt and live destiny. You become what you think, because thought is the raw material of creation. Look around you. Everything you see, the device you're watching this on, the chair you're sitting in, the building you're in, all of it began as a thought in someone's mind. A single idea, a spark of belief. The thought came first. The world came second. And yet, most people are careless with their thoughts. They treat them like background noise instead of sacred instruments. They think negativity is harmless. They think complaining is casual. But every thought is a seed, and your life is the harvest. If you plant doubt, you will reap hesitation. If you plant excuses, you will reap stagnation. If you plant faith, discipline, and gratitude, you will reap miracles. So ask yourself, what seeds are you planting today? What inner words are you rehearsing when nobody is watching? Because those silent moments of thought are the blueprint of your future life. You see, successful people are not born different. They have simply mastered their mental construction process. They think on purpose. They design their inner world the way an engineer designs a bridge. Carefully, deliberately, precisely. Average people let thoughts happen to them. Great people make thoughts happen for them. When the storm hits, the average person says, "Why me?" The great person says, "This storm will make me stronger." Same event, different thought, different future. That's how powerful your mind is. It doesn't just interpret your world, it creates it. So if your life right now feels stuck, broken, or uninspired, don't rush to change your job, your partner, or your surroundings. Change your thoughts first, because nothing around you will shift until something within you does. You are always living inside the reflection of your dominant thoughts. If the reflection is dark, it's because your thoughts have been dim. Turn on the light, and the world will brighten with it. The mind is a garden, and life is its echo. Whatever you allow to grow inside will one day bloom outside. But here's the secret most people never understand. You don't get to escape the harvest. Whether you plant weeds or roses, they will both rise in time. That's why you must guard your mind like a sacred temple. You must become a ruthless protector of your inner space. You can't afford to let every opinion, every fear, every whisper of doubt walk freely inside your head. Because the moment you give permission to a weak thought, it starts building. And thoughts build silently, brick by brick, until one day, you wake up trapped in a house you never meant to live in. Every time you say, "I can't," you're laying another stone in the wall of your own limitation. Every time you say, "I'll try," instead of "I will," you're reinforcing uncertainty. But every time you say, "I can, I must, I will," you're breaking those walls and laying down the foundations of greatness. The greatest mistake people make is believing they must wait until conditions are perfect. But perfect conditions never come. They're built through faith and movement. Carnegie didn't wait for the world to hand him opportunity. He created it with relentless vision. Walt Disney didn't start with magic. He started with a sketch and a dream so clear that not even bankruptcy could erase it. They all began with a thought, and they refused to let the outer world tell them what was possible. That's the discipline of builders, those who construct empires from nothing more than a vision. They think as if what they want is already theirs, and their faith moves mountains that logic says cannot be moved. Your imagination is the workshop of the divine. It's where you mold the invisible into form. So when you visualize, you are not daydreaming, you are designing. The future always submits to the mind that dares to design it. But design without discipline is chaos. You can't think like a king and act like a beggar. You can't visualize success and then speak in the language of fear. Every word you speak, every action you take, must be consistent with the vision you hold inside. Otherwise, your own contradiction will destroy your creation. That's why belief alone is not enough. It must be fused with discipline. Discipline is the scaffolding that supports your vision, while it takes shape in the physical world. Without it, your dream collapses under the weight of inconsistency. There are people who start strong, filled with passion and excitement, but their thoughts are scattered, their habits weak, and soon, the building of their destiny cracks and falls apart. They blame fate, they blame luck, they blame the system. But the truth is simpler and harder. They built carelessly. They never reinforce their thoughts with action. You must build every day. You must think deliberately every morning. You must repeat faith until it becomes second nature. You must act as if failure is not an option, because to the mind of a builder, it isn't. Understand this. You are both the architect and the laborer of your destiny. You design it with thought, and you construct it with discipline. Every day you lay down the materials of tomorrow through your words, your focus, your attitude. And if you do it long enough, if you hold the image of success in your mind with unwavering faith, one day you'll walk into the life you built in silence. But remember, the opposite is just as true. If you fill your mind with gossip, jealousy, laziness, or fear, you are still building, but now it's a prison instead of a palace. And that's the tragedy of most people. They don't realize they've been designing their own cage for years. They think someone else locked them in, but the key was in their hand all along. To change your life, you must first change your construction plan. You must rewire the blueprint of your mind. Tear down the structures built from insecurity. Demolish the walls of self-doubt. Remove the old blueprints that came from fear, judgment, or the opinions of others. And start again, fresh, with faith as your foundation. Because the truth is this: you cannot think small and live large. You cannot build your future with the tools of the past. And you cannot rise while thinking thoughts that keep you crawling. So ask yourself right now, what kind of building are you living in? Is it a monument to your potential, or a museum of your excuses? If it's not what you want, start rebuilding today, because your thoughts never rest. Even now, they are either creating or collapsing your future. The power is always in motion, and the only question that remains is, in which direction are you sending it?